today. Um, haven't done a podcast in close to 2 months because there is no way I've been able to do anything. Um, Let me see here. Give me a second here. I'm trying to make sure that we're live. Because if not, we're toast. Let's take a look. It's not allowing me. But anyway, I think we are because I just got one viewer, so I know that that we're live, and it's been nuts. What can I tell you? For the last 2 months of working on everything that we're working on to try to grow this business from hiring and firing 5 technicians in 2 months, um, to buying a route, which we're currently in process of, making sure that we integrate everything into our system because we have to bring all those customers from Gorilla Desk into pest routes or field routes, or I don't know what they're called anymore. But it's been grueling to buying a brand new truck to make sure we have all the equipment and everything to manage this all within less than 30 days to make everything happen. So I don't know where you've been on your growth, but I'm going to have a cigar on a Tuesday, if you don't mind. If you guys want to join me, you can join me for a cigar too, because it's just the way it is. I'm still putting in to make all this happen, somewhere around 70 hours a week. I've been working nonstop, uh, 7 days a week for the last 2 months or more than that. Oh my God, this thing is like, well, it's lit. So, long ashes to you and salutations. Cheers. Mm. We just finished doing the 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 SEO masterclass. That was supposed to take 12 weeks. It took 10. So we knocked it out in 10. For those of you that have not joined me, go to my website, pestgeekpodcast.com. Go to Academy. You can get it there. I have a complete GMB course that I set up. This is why I did it a year ago that I did this course. And now I did the new one. How you doing, Pop? Aki, Bobby. Hanging out. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, let's see. I got, a little part that I ordered. Nice. To fix a spray gun. But, we finished that course, and now you have a complete SEO masterclass to rank anywhere on Google. Um, Anywhere you want to rank, you can rank on Google with that masterclass. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years to do SEO. This is how I generate 200 to 300 calls a month. When people say, can you handle another 30 calls? We can generate 300. We don't need right now ads. We don't need LSA. We don't need to knock on doors. We don't need to join BMI groups. We don't need to be out there pounding phone, making sales calls. They come to us, and they come to us organically based on our niche, our keyword strategy, everything that we've done for 10 years to build it up to that point. And so, we're now growing, and we had an opportunity from a guy that I helped out about a year ago who was having an issue. And I said, why don't we go out there and take a look at it together, and I'll help you. And he had to leave. Camilo, he had to, had to leave, to another state. And, I had the opportunity to buy his route that he built up. Luckily, he was listening to me for a long time, and he did it the way I told him. And So far, it's having its issues getting the customers transferred over um, from Gorilla Desk, having them sign new contracts with us because we have service agreements. They can cancel in 30 days, but we still need their signed permission to service the property, get their credit card on file so we can do auto billing because that's the only way we do it now. Everybody's got to have a card on file for auto bill. Um, we're even getting rid of the like 12 or 13 accounts that I told who have to write a check to us. Every month, and we got to sit there and process a check. It's the administrative costs when you're a small guy like me, where you have two technicians, yourself on the road, you're got an admin, and you're still not hitting $1 million yet. It's very difficult if you don't have somebody in the office that can process those checks, deposit them, and all that. It's still a couple of hours a month, believe it or not, to do that. So I rather pay the 5% to the credit card company between processing fees, this fee, that fee, merchant fee, every other fee. I'd rather pay them the fees, the 5% that it comes out to, and basically not have to do anything and automate everything, because automation is the key for you to be able to automate everything you do. Automate the scheduling, automate the routing, automate as much as you possibly can. We've got our SEO right now probably 50% automated, where I only have to spend maybe um, about 8 hours a week on SEO, where I used to spend 20 to 30 hours before AI, before I had all the software I now have. Yeah, how much you spend on software a month for SEO? I spend about $800 to $1,000 easily for software to do automate all the SEO. But think about what an employee would cost me. It would cost me $5,000 to $6,000 easily a month to have an SEO guy on staff working for us full time, doing it manually, where we could now do it. I can run it for 8 hours. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know my brand. There's not going to be a dilution of the brand, things like that. Trying to figure out what title is on there. Whoops, I just kicked that because I know that I tried to do this, and every time we're going to do this, Restream has an issue. We're using a Restream software to go. Let me go real quick here. Try to. Yeah, let me do this. Actually, that's the wrong one. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna do this really quick. So that will allow me to try another. Let's see if it'll pop up. Let me see if it pops up over here, so I can see if you guys. Here it is. 126. Yep, got it. Trying to log into my Facebook account because I'm on another device. I'm going to save that, and just making sure that I know what the heck I'm talking about, because I might have a wrong title on there. Yeah, okay. So it's definitely not. I wanted 1080p. This is the problem with software. Every time we do this, we have a new glitch with this software. But I really do like. Oh, there it goes. Now it cleared up. And we're doing so. Basically, we bought a new business. Um, it's been a little grueling. We had to get all the money in place, negotiate the deal. Um, how we were going to pay up front for this, and then finance the rest of it. So that was a big. I want to give a big shout out to Joe Jonovich, which did the contracts for us to get this done. Um, if you're looking at that, for consulting or being able to have contracts and things like that that are by a lawyer, he's got that service. And I've known Joe for a while now, so I feel totally comfortable doing this deal, which it's a small deal. It wasn't anything big, but a big shout out to him and what he does, and the people he helps, and he's always there for all of us. So really appreciate that. And it's just been, this is where we're at. um, we're trying to um, grow. And the what I was just having a conversation with Joel from Apache Pest Control this morning. I think it was this morning or last night. I think it was this morning. I can't even remember what day it is sometimes. About the reality of growing in South Florida, that there's very few people that have actually been able to grow to a multi-million-dollar company here in South Florida, because the cost of acquisition is so high. I said, when we slice the cost of acquisition, when you look at the real cost of acquiring a customer, it's not just the ad cost. Okay, forget about the ad cost. What does it cost per click? So let's say you get 10 clicks at $25 a click. That's $250 to get one sale. I don't care which way you slice it. It's around $250. LSA ads, you can't even contest them anymore. So you get an LSA ad and it's 120, and you get 2 to 3 before you can close it, because our closing ratio is 80%. You're not getting 80% closing ratios on ads. Are you insane? There's nobody doing that. You have to be so cheap on your pricing to close 80%, like $49 a month, and no initial fee, and waive everything, in order for you to be able to get to close every single deal that comes through the door. So if you're closing a deal at $49 a month for no initial fee, or a $49 initial fee, and it's $150 an LSA call, it's going to take you 4 to 6 months before you see your ROI. If that's your strategy, and you can finance, that's wonderful. But most small guys that are $150,000 to $250,000, even with a $3,000 a month budget, can't absorb that. They still have to charge the high initial fees, or at least market average initial fees of about $150, which is the national average. Here in Florida, it's about the same thing. Initial fee, where you're somewhere between $500 and $600 a year on general pest control for the client for the year. And to be able to absorb a fee like that and still break even or lose money your first 2 to 3 months. This is what people don't understand about financing growth. That in order to finance the growth, it's not just the trucks, it's not the employees, it's just not. It's just your overhead. It's the cost of financing that client over time. So for me, I said this about, I don't know, it was like 6 months ago that I mentioned it on the podcast, and I said, look, I'm looking to start buying routes. And why? Because the cost of acquisition on routes that are small, even if they have a 20 to 50% cancellation rate, which the average business is about 20% when you buy an established business. But if you're buying a route and the customers are, I always want Joe because Joe did my house for 20 years, and they're wanting an inside outside service every single time, and you're charging $45 a service, you're going to lose 80% of those clients. I've had an offer to buy a route like that, and I offered them 10 cents on the dollar. I said, I'm going to give you 10 cents on the dollar because I'm going to lose 95% of those clients. I'm never going to do by appointment, inside, outside, every single service. We would never be able to have technicians, and we would have to have somebody scheduling 24/7. I got a buddy who has 3 routes who didn't listen to me, who did that, and sure enough, 3 years later, he's pulling out his hairs. He's calling me, what do I do? Says, you're going to have to bite the bullet. Tell everyone it's an outside only service. You only do inside when needed if there's a problem, and that's that, and let the chips fall where they may. And most people are not going to cancel on you. But when you're switching companies to another company, you got to find a fit. You got to see if that company was doing the service the way you do it. and finding that fit. It's like finding an employee with finding a fit. We did, I had Indeed ads running. We were on Facebook. We were going into groups. We were talking to everyone. And we managed to hire, it was 4 technicians in the last 3 months, 2.5 months, where I finally found one that's pretty decent. Seems to be working out okay. Um, I'm happy with the results I'm getting with him. So now 2 full-time technicians plus me running out there doing termite work, doing inspections, um, doing exclusion jobs that nobody can do. I'm basically focused on everything else that's not maintenance work. The technicians do maintenance work. I have an admin answering the phone 5 days a week, where she can quote out most residential services on easy stuff. I'll quote out the lawn, the ornamental, the specialty services, the inspections, all of that. I quote out. So I'm only involved on those conversations maybe 5 to 10% of the time. And this is where I want to be. I want to be next year, where by next year we're probably looking at buying another route like this, seeing how this deal goes. We learn from it. Everything is a learning experience, folks. A lot of people, I talk to a lot of young people, and for those of you who know, I like dealing with young people, because we need young people. We need young people in our businesses. We need Gen Zers now. Gen Xers are getting into their 40s. We need Gen Zers now, and the next generation is going to coming into the workforce pretty soon, and we have to hire these people, and we have to learn how to hire them. It became increasingly harder. So everything we're doing, every time you want to grow, every time you say, I want to grow, I want to be the guy that grows my business, and I want to grow to $1 million, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. Understand that it's going to be a huge learning curve for everything. And what we're finding with Gen Zers is the fact that too many of them are too comfortable. Too many are too comfortable. They are not. They're not having to deal with anything. They're still 20 something, 25 to 30. Some are older. They're living at home with mom and dad still. They're not wanting to get married. They're not wanting to have kids. They don't want to have any responsibilities. So it's hard to find people with that mentality that we don't want responsibility. We want work-life balance. We want to show up to work, do our job, but not really have a ton of responsibility. We don't want to go into middle management. We don't want to go into sales. We're afraid of taking chances. We're afraid of doing things without fully understanding everything that we're doing. And when you have a route that you got clients and a guy quits on you, you need somebody in that truck that can learn quickly, be able to be resilient, be able to handle the problems that come along. And we just don't have a generation that shuns all that. And it's getting harder. So what do we have to do? Automate as much as possible. Simplify your services as much as possible. So luckily, I had a franchise mentality 10 years ago when I was looking to franchise our business. And I took a lot of information and learned a lot. I used to have on my desk about a stack that big of contracts that I would read through, and learning franchise systems and understanding franchise systems. Even if you're not going to franchise your business, understanding and having a franchise system for your business where everybody does it the same way. There is a very simplified menu of services, and you do that, and you simplify it as much as you can so you can hire the lowest skilled tech that you can possibly hire. What we're trying to hire is for aptitude. We're trying to hire for soft skills that are really hard to come by. It's hard to come by with a person that is responsible, that says, I understand that I'm running around in a truck that costs brand new $40,000 with $10,000-$15,000 equipment. I'm going into people's houses who are the upper 10% of income class earners, And I have to communicate effectively with it, and they don't have communication skills. The communication skills are terrible. Um, we want we have a generation that wants transparency and honesty and fairness, except they're not transparent and honest and fair themselves. If they're honest with themselves, they're not. That's the generation that we're dealing with in service businesses, and every service business is struggling. It doesn't matter whether it's air conditioning, plumbing, pest control, landscaping. Um, the more you need somebody with skills of communication, they won't show up to work and ghost you. I mean, the communication skills is horrid with people that I'm interviewing that don't even show up to interviews. They agreed everything was great. They went through all this trouble and they don't show up for interviews. Um, they're wanting to make an enormous amount of money that you and I, in comparison on percentage wise, never made, and our parents never made. And since they have no responsibility, they can quit their job and be home for 6 months without a job because they don't even have a car. Most people that I talk to that are in their late 20s and 30s do not have a car because that would require a commitment to pay insurance and pay their car payments. And so they're staying at home, mom and dad, into their mid 20s with no car, no transportation, looking for a job where they can make $50,000 a year when they don't have the skills. And they're delusional in their thinking of what it really takes to make that. The reason they're delusional is because what I see, and here it is, if you have a snowflake of a son or a daughter, is because chances are you were a helicopter parent, where you didn't allow them to do anything. I mean, I got people who they don't know how to make their bed because mom never made them. I go into houses with 20-something-year-old sons. The room is a mess, clothes everywhere. And they're like, I can't get them to clean their room. I'm so sorry for the mess. Um, that's what we have to deal with as business owners that are growing businesses. This is our reality. This is what, and then so a lot of people, the option is, this is why I don't hire. This is why I don't want to grow. You don't want to grow because of all the problems. You don't want to grow because, and a lot of the times you just don't have the skills, and you have to acquire the skills. And what we have is a generation also of people that think that for some reason it should be really easier than it really is. This idea that you have to earn money by the sweat of your brow is a foreign concept to this generation. They're thinking that they should have to one day wake up, one day they're going to wake up and they're going to go to a job, and it's going to be like a heavenly thing that happens, that all of a sudden they find their calling in life. And they were looking for their passion. I just had the conversation with a tech that said, basically told me, look, this business is your passion, it's not my passion. Having a conversation with another young man who told me that he is looking for, they're just going from one job to another job to another job, looking for their passion in life. And one of the things that I had to discuss with him and had to tell him is that is pure nonsense. The problem that you're having, and I had to confront him, and I said, the problem that you're having is not the fact that you're looking for the passion. The problem is you have no passion for anything. You are not a person that shows any passion for anything that they're doing. You're just have this personality that you just have no enthusiasm. And they're thinking that if they just, everybody needs to accept them the way they are, because they don't have the skills, they don't have the communication, they don't have no passion, they have no drive. Why? Because they never learned to play sports. They never were allowed to go out and ride a bike without a helmet and without knee pads and without, having a full armored suit where they wouldn't hurt themselves. They didn't get bullied at school where they went up to a kid and just popped them in the face for bullying him. That's the 80s I grew up in Miami. You got out of line, you got stupid, you got popped in the face. Now it's no, but everybody needs to talk about it. There's no talking to a bully. I told my daughter, you ever get bullied by a guy in school, you get touched the wrong way, you clock him and then let me handle it with the school. But I ain't letting you, my daughter is never going to get bullied by any man because she had to hold my flashlight. And that girl has more stones than most guys I know. So that's the reality of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a bunch of people who are in relationships for 8-9 years and refuse to get married. Like, we don't want to have kids. I want zero responsibilities. And I don't have a problem with that. If you chose that as a lifestyle and said, I don't want kids, I don't want to I don't want to own a home, I want to be able to travel and enjoy my life, and I'm okay with renting an apartment with a bunch of people, and that would be great if you were actually making money, having a job, and saying, you know what, I'm going to take my 2-3 weeks vacation, I'm going to travel Europe and blow my money on traveling and enjoying my life. The problem is you're not even doing that. You're sitting home playing, I don't know what, Roblox on your mama's couch, being on mama's tit, where she pays everything for you because you just don't have what it takes to go out in the world and make it. When by the time I was 18, I was already on my own. Most people that I know my age were on their own at that time. That's just a reality of what we're dealing with as businesses. 80% of us, listen, 80% of small businesses in America are solo operators. I'm in the top 20% of the businesses in America that have 4 employees. It's not the norm. This idea that people are trying to sell you on, that if you just buy my program, you too can have a business where you don't have to be hands-on and you can be in Bermuda somewhere. There are guys who've been in business 20 years. I got a friend of mine who just called me. $5 million business. He's had it. He's done. 14 employees, and he's done. And he called me and says, bro, I need to, who can broker that deal? And I gave him 2 names of people that I know that can broker that kind of deal. Because you're looking at a $15 million, 2x, 2.5, 3x valuation on that business, which is a high profit business. But almost 20 employees. He says, I'm done with the office people. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I just want to retire and I'm done. He's in his 40s. He's going to do well. He's 1% of the businesses in America that get to $5 million. I think it's less than 5 to 6%. Look it up. Google the stats. Show me the numbers of people that get to $1 million or more. So that's my goal. My goal is over 2 million, so that I can have a business I can sell, have the lifestyle that I want. Right now, I'm looking at enjoying a lot. I'm traveling a lot. I'm going to a lot of conferences this year. I'm going mostly to marketing conferences. I'm not going to any pest control conference. I'm going to one. I only go to Pest World this year because it's in Orlando. It's going to be 2025. It's in Orlando, or 26. I can't remember. I'm going up to a Popka. I've got to a termite conference, but I'm keeping most of my conferences to marketing conferences because I need to be a better marketer. I mean, that's the reality. I need to 10x my marketing within the next 2 to 3 years in order to get to the level I want to get. So when you see all of these people, the 1% that are bragging about how big they are, that's the 1%. Don't be fooled, folks, by thinking that it's easy to do this and anybody can do it. It takes a lot of DNA, um, mainly being too stubborn and too thick-headed to know it can't be done, and being perseverant, um, being buoyant, being resilient, bouncing back from failure. I can talk to you more all day about my failures than I can talk to you about my successes in life. That's the reality of most of what I've done. It's due to a lot of trial and error called research and development. It's a glorified name for how many times do we have to screw this up before we get it right. Um, Getting the employee hiring system down is hard. What I've learned is it doesn't matter which system I use. I've listened to everybody in the industry. I've gone to conferences. I'm listening to people with in the recruiting industry. Guess what? Hiring is guessing. 50% of the people that apply automatically get rejected. Automatically. When you haven't had a job for 4 months in this economy, and I seen that you had one job a year or every 6 months, I don't even bother to interview you. I'm wasting my time with you. I look for people that have had a job for at least 2 years, a steady job in any field. And then even if they switch 3 to 4 times, they at least have 6 years of work experience. They've shown some type of dedication to learning something. The average tech in the pest control industry is 1 to 3 years. That's the average. Oh, that's because, you know, you're just not paying well. And if they paid well and they hired the right people, look, you're talking out of your butthole. If you've never hired anybody and you've never actually grown a business, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You can repeat everything you're hearing out there, but you're talking out of your butthole. All right, you don't know. So come and talk to me when you actually tried to do it, and then tell me how easy it's been for you, and then we can have that conversation. So, put that in your pocket. So the idea is that that's what I've been up to for that I haven't done a podcast in 2 months is because I just don't have the time sometimes to sit out here. It gets dark early. Um, it's 5, 6 o'clock and it's dark. So you're trying to maximize your daylight hours. I don't know why we don't go to a full-time daylight savings times. It's asinine. We're not a farming, nation. We're not even a manufacturing nation. We're a data nation now. So it's asinine why we have daylight savings time and got to go back. I love this. I love getting home at 5, 6 o'clock at night while it's still daylight and enjoy some time outside. It's 6:30 here in Miami, and I'm enjoying a cigar on a Tuesday outside. I've been having more than one cigar a week right now with the stress. I started working out again today. I made a decision. Hadn't worked out in 4 years. Um, was dealing with massive amount of chronic fatigue, which I finally got over. We figured it out. Took 6 years and a lot of doctors to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. And doing some NAD plus treatments too. That seems to help a lot with brain fog. And I need the energy. I need to be able. So I finally started working out again. I've been losing some weight, trying to keep my weight in check. I got to be healthy. You can't. I'm seeing people neglect themselves, being overweight, neglecting their bodies, eating crap in their cars, um, you know, junk food in their cars, not taking lunch breaks. I have a fit with my techs. Guys, you need to take your lunch break. You need to take that time for yourself. It's, yeah, but if I save an extra 30 minutes, I said, you don't need 30-minute lunches. Take 10, 15 minutes, take a 15-minute break. You need it because it isn't worth, if you get sick and you can't help your family and you can't provide for your family because you're stressed out all the time, which I don't load you up on work. They're doing 6 to 8 stops right now each, because it's light. We're in the winter, it's lighter here. When summer comes, it's a nightmare, because we run at 80% capacity here in Florida all year long, because unlike people in the north or the northeast that take the entire winter off, they lay off their staff or partial staff, and then they got to rehire them again. I don't have that luxury. I'm here all year long. The problem is, when it comes summer, it's raining all the time, and you'll have sometimes 2 to 3 days a week where you're working partial days, and so we really run our routes at about 80% capacity all year long. And what do we have to do? Just do. I'm looking right now at about $250,000 per route. That's what I'm shooting for. We're close to that right now. And then once I get this route fully running, in about another 6 to 8 months, buy another route. Once we get out of this deal and pay this off, we're just going to buy another route and looking for it actively. We're going to start just basically contacting everybody who's a solo operator, because I want to buy smaller routes. I don't want to buy big companies. I don't want to buy 2-3 route company. I want to buy right now just solo operators, people who haven't, believe it or not, started up 2 years ago, and they've never gotten past $50,000 in 2 years. That's the norm. That's what you see here in Miami. People who think they're making $36,000 a year when they were making 36, 37, 38, $40,000 a year working for a large brand, and they're making 6 to 10% more than they used to. The only thing that for us as entrepreneurs, that the freedom that we get from being able to say, yep, I need to take off. I need to take my kid to school. I need to take my kid to the doctor. I need to go to the doctor. I don't need to explain. You get that kind of freedom. It's worth it if you're making the same amount of money and you can live. But unless you're making $90,000 a year revenue, and here income, I'm talking about take-home pay, there's no way you can live in Miami. I lost my tech. I was paying him 70-something thousand a year, and I lost him. He went to Texas because he could live cheaper over there than he could here. You can't afford rent. You can't afford a mortgage. It's incredibly tough, folks, to be here in Miami. So that's the reality for most people that I talk to, that I started up 2-3 years ago. You started up after COVID. Oh my God, it's the most difficult time to start up. I started up in 2009 with the crash. I already been through that. I already knew what to do. It's experience. Experience matters. But understand that experience comes with a lot of pain. That experience comes with pain of learning how to do things. So you can't train up and be an athlete, be a professional, anything, without going to the pain of training. And everything, what happens with a lot of people, I had one guy says, well, I tried welding. I did one weld and it didn't work out, so I guess I wasn't cut out for welding. I said, before I welded this rig, I hadn't welded in 30 years, almost 40 years, I think, since I was 18. I hadn't welded. And that was stick welding. I hadn't done aluminum welding. And I had to do over 200 welds on a piece of aluminum, practicing for 4 or 5, 6 hours, just practicing my welds. And I had this giant piece of aluminum that I showed him. And I said, that took 5 to 6 hours just to learn to get that one weld right. And this is the problem I see with the generator. They don't want to go through any struggles. My kid, he says, I want to be a gamer. I want to be a coder. And he tries to code for an hour. He gets frustrated. I want to play soccer. He's 10 years old. I want to play soccer. And kids who are his age, who were playing since they were 4, and now they're almost in like a traveling league, kick his ass. And he's like demotivated. I said, you're wanting to be a superstar. You're wanting to be the next Messi and just show up to the scene without having to spend 100 hours a week training, where you're training for 8 to 10 hours a day, practicing one kick in one location so that you can, whenever that comes up, you've got it memorized. This is the generation that we're leading with. Everything is supposed to be easy because mom and dad made everything. What I noticed, here's the clincher. Everyone I talked to, every single one of these people I talked to, dad was never in their life. They had no clue what it's like to be a man because they never saw a man in their life. They had a mother. I'm a child of a single mother. My dad died when I was 5. I had my one role model, which was my uncle, hung himself at work. The other one was a drug dealer, and my mother's boyfriend was a guy who every time he drank became verbally abusive. How I turned up normal, I have no idea, or at least semi-normal, because I never had a role model. So I looked for role models in business. You know, I was a guy following Wayne Huizenga back in the 80s when I was a young man. So I looked for role models, but these kids haven't had any. Their role model has been mom. Mom didn't let them go through anything. Mom was afraid of letting them get hurt. And this is what we have now. We have a fatherless society. We got girls who are growing up not knowing who their dad is. And we're paying that price as a generation, as an entire industry, as things go overseas to the Philippines, to Singapore, to countries, to third world countries where people have to work. When you're 16 years old, you already have to work in construction in order to help feed your family. Things that these kids have no idea what it's like to have to work at 10, 12 years old. I mean, I was working at 10, 12 years old already, um, just to buy my chips and soda every day if I wanted one. I had to go work. I had to stock shelves in a little supermarket in the corner, and the guy would pay me with food. For 2 hours a day, I would stock all the shelves in that little mini market, and I would get paid in food. That's what we had to do to survive. And we have an entire generation that has no clue what it's like to persevere at anything. That's what we're facing, folks, as a business. So why do I keep going? Because I have no choice. Because unless I can bring in the income I need, there's no way I can generate that on my own. I have to hire people. Have to hire people, and I have to grow in order to generate the income I need to live this lifestyle that I want to live. You have to bust your butt. So you have to go through it. And if you can live somewhere in the middle of nowhere with $50,000 a year of income, and you can own your home and you can survive, great. For those of us in large cities, we're not going to go and flood Utah somewhere and move from here, from this lovely weather we're having, while some of you guys are still having 30-degree weather. Uh, Idaho, I think Bob, he's in Idaho. He sends me pictures. Says this is the first day we've had. It was like 30 something degrees. I'm like, screw that. I already did that when I lived in Ohio, and I had to go all over Chicago and all over God's creation in the winter with 4 feet of snow and 20 below degrees measuring houses in the winter when I had to sell siding. You know, screw that. I'm not selling a deck in the winter. You're trying to sell a deck in the winter? I mean, it's like selling ice to ice Eskimos, selling windows and doing all kinds of stuff that I had to do when I lived in the Midwest. Um, no, I thank God that, you know, I'm wired to do what I do. Um, it's in my DNA to just be hard-headed and thick-headed and to be too naive to know it can't be done. And that's what you really need if you're going to be in business. This is why only 6% of Americans really own a business. Where everybody's talking about it, it feels like everybody owns a business. Everybody has a side hustle. I'm sorry, Uber is not owning a business. I got here guys who, you know, I live in Miami. We've got recent arrivals from every country, but mostly Cuba. They can't figure out every time I need a delivery how to get through that darn gate, how to look my name up in the directory. I would love to hire more of them because they do work hard, but they're not willing to learn the language, and it's hard. My advice to them is learn the language, leave Miami, go live somewhere else where you have to learn English, and stop trying to be so comfortable. So I'm living outside of my comfort zone. Um, I'm getting constantly outside of my comfort zone to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve. I realize I'm 54 years old. I just went to a funeral, and I'm seeing people who are very young in their 60s dropping dead, and realize that I'm living on borrowed time. It's that simple. I'm living on borrowed time. It's amazing that I've made it this far in my life to this age. I should have been dead 10 times, but I didn't. You realize you have a mission, that you have a strong faith in God, that God put you on this earth to accomplish certain things, and He's not done with me yet. I'm not done, and I'm going to achieve the things that I want to achieve. I'm going to balance them out, not working 80-hour weeks, but enjoying my life a little more. We're going on a lot of cruises. We want to go on more cruises this year. We went on 3 cruises last year. Um, I want to go on at least one cruise and go on a trip every 3 to 4 months, take off, and go for at least 4 to 5 days. We can't take long because she's got a lot of work too. She's a big manager, and she's got a lot of responsibility. So, but I have, I can't take off very long. I take off 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. We want to do a big European trip. Um, I want to go to Israel and Greece, and all that Mediterranean area. We want to be able to do one of those next year. So we're taking advantage and trying to enjoy our life a little bit more, enjoy a little bit of the fruit of our labor, of what we earned, and just keep growing, just keep pushing it. But now I'm in a place. I wasn't in a place 4 years ago. People are like, why haven't you grown? I wasn't in a place that I could grow because it was, divorce is a bear. Um, things like that. Ooh, I love these. Look at these new nozzles for my termite jobs, for drenching the trench. Um, this thing will put out 10 gallons a minute. Um, I love this. I love these nozzles. Where did I get these? I buy all my sprayer parts, guys, for the free plug. These guys are great. See if you can see that. Spray Depot. Yeah, Sprayer Depot. They're in Apopka, actually. They're very near University of Florida. There, I buy everything: hoses, reels, pumps, everything that I equipped that van with 3 reels and 3 electric reels and everything I bought from them. They got great service. I ordered something, I have it here within 2 days. They got great customer service. So if you're needing to buy anything to make a spray rig or fix a spray rig, Sprayer Depot in Apopka, Florida. A big shout out to them. Nah, they don't pay me anything. Nobody pays me anything. So yeah, I mean, it's wonderful to be able to do. I mean, I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can turn this around, and let me go over here. And that's the brand new Nissan we bought, and that's the van there. And we just got that Nissan, so that's going to be our 3rd vehicle now. I mean, we got a 3rd one, but I sold the van that we had. We're running little route off of a car, because I said I need to get you a truck, and so now we've got 3 fully equipped vehicles. We're going to put a pull-out a bed on that one. It's going to have the extra high cap. I don't like my people to struggle, but nobody can say Frank rides me hard, pays me little, doesn't care for me, and doesn't worry. I worry about my people when they're sick, when they're hurting. Um, I'm there for them. And so that's going to get a pull-out bed so that they don't have to struggle. They can I don't want a guy crawling through a truck every time he's got to get something out that he needs, have to get through all the way to the back, pull it out, and spend 15, 20 minutes. It's a $1,200 bed. I'll install it in 2 hours, and a $1,200 pull-out bed, even if it's $1,600, even if it's $2,500 for a pull-out bed, the over the next 6 years that truck will be on the road, it'll produce $1,500,000. Really, $2,000 you're going to make your people climb through a damn truck to pull out what they need from the back and take everything out of that truck they need and not utilize the full at least 80% of that vehicle with side doors and side trays for chemical where everything is handy? Really? You're saying that $2,500 is too much so that he can just do this, pull it out, get what he needs out of that truck, close it, and you will spend $2,500 in labor and no nonsense over that stuff. I wonder what goes through people's minds in this industry where they're being penny wise and pound foolish. They strain the gnat and swallow the camel. It's like it makes no sense to me. That van is equipped with everything to do GHP, termite, lawn, and it produces 30% more than anything I've ever owned. Why wouldn't you spend the $50,000 for that build-up? That van is going to produce $1.5 to $2 million over the next 6-7 years that it's on the road, providing it doesn't get wrecked, totaled, rolled over, whatever. It makes no sense to me that you send your people out with cheap old equipment when a flow zone sprayer is $300. You're struggling with. I see people with pump sprayers because they're $89. People with less fatigue. Look, I'm a student of scientific management, and you observe people how they work, and you look at them and say, is there a way to make this easier for you so that you can be more productive, you can have less fatigue? Taking care of your people, and this is where a lot of companies just don't care about the welfare of their people. They think, well, I'm paying you a salary, I'm paying you to work. Work is hard. You should work hard. You should work hard, but you should also work smart, and you should work hard at the things that produce the most revenue. Digging trenches is hard. I don't think I want to do that my whole life. I think I got more skills than that. So why wouldn't you get the best equipment for your people? Why are you making them work with old equipment? Like, I have a fit every single time my tech told me, oh, this has been broken for a week. It's like, why haven't you told me? I could order another B&G or another Aerofog for $250 because it isn't worth my time sitting there spending 2 hours on my weekend trying to fix a stupid Aerofog. Buy a handle for it, spend $150, and get you working and making sure you're productive, because I need you to produce $1,500 a day. It's asinine to me, the stuff that I hear, and I'm like having a fit of, why haven't you told me? I would have had another one ordered overnight, or at least in 2 days. Oh, I just haven't had the time. So what are you doing? Oh, I've been using this. And like, no, every one of these trucks carry 3 and 4 backpacks, one for each, one for perimeter treatment, one for lawn, one for shrubs, because we have a different shrub mix. We don't want herbicides mixed. These guys carry 3 and 4 backpacks. That van has a $1,400 electric backpack, brand new flow zone backpack. Is it as good as the steel 200? No, it isn't. But we had to, because we're in communities now that have a zero tolerance for motorized equipment. This is where we're at. I have cities that we do work in that we do, $400 or $500 accounts. We can't lose them because the city comes up to us, rides up and says, you can't use a motorized blower here because it's illegal. So we had to buy it. 100% electric. That whole vehicle is 100 electric pumps to do lawn, shrub, ornamental, termite, electric backpacks. I have a Flow Zone roll cart, a 9-gallon in there. I've got 3 Flow Zone backpacks. I got a Flow Zone motorized sprayer. It's got 2 B&Gs, 2 Aerofogs, a B&G foamer. It's got a Versafoamer in there, an electric Versafoamer for termite. Um, Everything to make sure that that job can get done at any time. There's 36 chemicals we carry in that van for lawn, ornamental, shrub, weed control, everything. There is nothing that vehicle can't do other than spray itself. I wish I could do that. I'm looking at right now actually at a uh, remote control sprayer for lawns. Why? Not because not because I'm looking to replace the technician. I'm looking to make life easier for everybody. If I can hire a 50-something-year-old that could not carry backpack, pull a hose, but he can work a remote control and spray 2 acres without getting fatigued from where he's at and not have to deal with the bounce around of a ride-on sprayer. I mean, I've got a ride-on sprayer. They'll do an acre in one shot. Why wouldn't you do what you could to get the most production out of your people without fatiguing them? That's not greed. That's just smart business. I tell my people, look, I'll buy this equipment. You're able to produce more. You're able to make more. Because the more production you can pull out for me without killing yourself, without straining yourself, one of the biggest complaints that young people have is that they've seen their parents working. And there's some good things that are coming out of here, out of this generation. There's a lot of good things that I'm excited about. One of them is a lot of them are not going to college, and they're looking at the trades. They're looking at the trades as so trades are coming back. The stuff that I grew up on, dirty jobs, those trades are coming back, and more kids are interested. That's the good thing. They just need a lot more training and a lot more management than we're used to. But that's a good positive thing that's happening in every industry. But if I can use the technology and tell a young person, you can spray 2 acres without having to push a hose, pull a hose, without having to ride around on something, and you can spray this property with a remote control unit. Why not? They're going to be excited. So it costs 10 grand. Who cares? The production that you get out of it and the return on investment will pay itself off. So we got to just figure out how we use the technology. How do we use everything available to automate as many things as we can, become the most technologically savvy company that's available to attract a generation of people who are technologically advanced. We're one of the safest companies to work for with our eco-friendly methods, our eco-friendly products, are the way we do things. We're a full IPM holistic company right now. We're the only holistic company in I think in probably the entire state that does what we do for residential homeowners without being a medical facilities company, without focusing on tier 3 labs, focusing on residential, bringing that technology to homes. We're the only full service company that does this. We do lawns, ornamentals. We do about 1 million gallons a year of natural shrub spray, finished shrub spray. We're pushing the envelope. Why? Because that's what I'm wired to do. You may not be interested in that. You don't care. But I do. To me, having the latest technology available to me and being the most technologically advanced small company that's around in South Florida for an audience that is the top 20%. We only sell to the top 10% of the moneymakers. So you're bringing in 150 to $250 per person, 250,000 minimum household income, and we want to be able to bring that cost down. This is why I want route density, and I want to be able to bring the cost down so that we can service. Whoop! I got a mosquito somewhere. I just saw a mosquito flying by. I just got this new little thing I'm testing, which I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But I'm testing this little um, essential oil mister that can ward off mosquitoes with a natural product that's in it. And I'm testing it now because I want to be able to bring I want to bring a product to market next year that I've been working on for the last 4 years. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag on that yet until it's ready. It's going to be consumer only. I'm not selling it to the pest control industry. Too hard to do, too hard to convince, too hard to overcome the supply chain issues with suppliers and distributors who want to own 50% of your business. And basically, the industry blocks you from wanting to sell a product. So we're going direct to consumer on that. Um, I've been working on that product for 4 years now, field testing, trying to get it, figuring it out. So yeah, big dreams, big plans, big goals, lots of work. It is um, it is a lot of work. It is for those of you guys that are out there that are doing it, that have done it, that have made it past the $500,000 mark. Um, you know it's a lot of work. The rest of the guys that have it, gals, um, there is a way to do it, but you're going to pay a price. You've got to be willing to take the pain. Um, you got to be willing to get hit in the nose, get knocked down, get knocked out, and still choose to get up again and take the beating again. That's the reality. There's no shortcutting this. There's no way of making this easy. There's no program. Even my SEO program, I tell my guys, look, SEO is about the most boring thing in the world. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. Everybody makes it. There's nothing new under the sun. There's no secret software. There's no secret app. There's no secret tools. There's no proprietary software. It's bullshit. It's grind. It's grind day, and it's writing copy. It's repeating things over and over and over and over. It's repetitive manufacturing work. And if you can do it, but I'd rather sit behind a keyboard all day long than to knock on doors, than to talk to people, than to have to go out and go to BNI meetings and spend endless hours, kissing the butt of realtors. I go direct to consumer. I bypass everybody. I get them direct to me, and I don't have to deal with a lot of the things. But it isn't easy. It was 20 to 30 hours a week for 10 years or 8 years. Now I got a full-time almost developer working for me on our website, building out the website and building things out that we want. Innovations in our website, a store that people can buy direct. I'm working on a lot of things. It's hard work, but I'm building a team. And building a team is not easy. You need to learn how to build a team. You need to learn how to lead, guide, and manage people. And it's hard work. But I rather do that than to be doing all the work myself, destroying my body. Because literally, your body takes a beating. I got a problem in my shoulder. That's a result of a rib that pops out, my first rib. And it's a result of carrying backpacks for 15 years. Also a result of my shoulders are like this because I have bad posture. That's my fault. But that's one of the things that young people are also looking at is my dad, my mom, they beat their bodies up, and at the end of the day, they had nothing to show for it. They neglected us, working all the time, trying to own a home, trying to buy this, trying to buy that, didn't have time for us, and they lived, 50% of kids have come from broken homes. So I get it. I get all of the pushback on what they're doing. So what I've learned is I can't change a generation. All I can do is look out for the outliers. Those kids that say, yeah, I want to hustle, I want to make it, I want to do it, I want to learn. Will you teach me? They'll stick to it. It's a 1% game. Everything we do is in the single digits, folks. Don't buy the bullshit from everybody online telling you that life is so easy if you just buy their program, if you just get their coaching, if you just buy their pre-made, um, you know, um, anything. It's just not the reality. It doesn't work. It's still grind. It's still grit. It's still grunt work. That's all that there is. And if you can do it, you can make it. And if you can't, you can't. It's pretty simple. This is Frank the Service Geek wishing you a spectacular day.